God bless everybody. My name is Minister Darrell Wilson. Press like and subscribe to my channel. The Lord has impressed it upon my spirit to talk a little bit about obedience. Obedience. It's one of those things that I see far too often in the body of Christ, and I've even witnessed it in myself, where I thought that delayed obedience didn't have a consequence. And the fact of the matter is, it does have a consequence. The assignment that God has given you is time sensitive. You only have so much time on this earth, but even more specifically, you have specific windows of time that can close on you for specific assignments. How many people understand that we have multiple assignments inside of our lifetime? And so you have divine connections that are waiting to meet you at a certain point in time. And if you refuse to be obedient, if you continue to be rebellious or choose to intentionally do things contrary to the way the Spirit of the Lord has led you, what it'll do is it'll cause you to miss those divine connections. Or you'll meet those divine connections, but you'll lack the character to be able to properly connect to them. I know that there are many people praying for their wives and for their husbands, and what I tell those that are praying diligently for their significant others is that God can't send them prematurely until they properly submit to God, because that same person that they're praying for is also praying for them. And they're praying that that person is in the character, their character is molded, and they're praying that they're in the form of a man of God or in the form of a woman of God. And if that person refuses to submit to that molding process, then God won't send them prematurely, because what will happen is we'll mess the relationship up. If we're sent prematurely before we are spiritually mature in God to properly submit to Him, to allow Him to mold us into His image, then when we connect to that relationship, we're going to frustrate the grace on that relationship, and she's going to, when she looks at, if she looks at me and I'm not prepared, she's going to look at me and she's going to say, that's not what I prayed for. Like, so the Lord covers us and guards us a lot of times by not even sending us to our proper mates, to our significant others, to our divine connections, our business partners, to our prayer partners, whatsoever type of connection it is. God covers us and doesn't even send us a lot of times until after our character is molded in Him, because we can sabotage the plan of God with our character. If we can't hold our tongue, we can sabotage the plan of God for our life. If we're not disciplined to resist temptation, we can sabotage the plan of God in our life. And that's why we're tested by God. We're tested. And through the testings, we prove ourselves usable by God. We prove ourselves as obedient children of God. Abraham was tested. He was told by God to take his only son. Although the Bible does say his only son, I guess Ishmael didn't count at all, to take his only son and to sacrifice him on the mountain. It was all a test. Those that study their Bible, they know what happened. God yelled at the last minute and told him that there was a ram in the bush for the sacrifice, but He wanted to see if Abraham would be obedient. So his faith with God was tested. His obedience to God was tested. And our obedience is going to be tested as well. So I want to just encourage you to go ahead and pass this test, because there's so much waiting for you on the other side of passing this test. So much waiting for you. Press subscribe, and I'll see you next time. God bless you. We are the remnant, and Jesus is the key.